So according to the system, we're live. Let's check out YouTube real quick if it is actually live. It has some delay. Yeah, we're live. So welcome everybody to the seventh meetup. We are now in a new setup, part YouTube, part Discord. But today is a really cool day. We have some really fun things planned. Most notably, first welcome, of course. Um, Everything that we do, you can find back on our website, hackthewereld.nl. Has nice write-ups and videos that are created will be there as well. Very interesting milestone. Not too long ago, I said we had 400 members in our meetup group. We now have 500 members in our meetup group. So we keep growing. Granted, there's a lot of people that are not from Netherlands that join, from Germany, from Belgium. We have some English and Scottish people as well. So welcome everybody. We're virtual, so it is all good. What to expect today? It is a very busy program. First, we will start with the CTF, and then we'll end. That's it. Daniel will soon talk about the CTF itself. But just before closing, we will have a prize ceremony. So if you do really well in the CTF, it will be a very good evening for you. Yeah, and the only other thing that I want to say right now is that our next meetup will be November 18th. And as planned now, we have Alex that will talk about binary exploitation. So pretty soon after our current meetup, the write-ins will open for that. So if you're one of those that want to reserve their seat right away, feel free to do so. And having said that, I would like to welcome Daniel. Daniel, you're doing the meetup takeover. So
yes.
Take it away. Take it away.
Well, before I get started, I hope everyone can see the presentation.
Right. Yeah, now we can. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm the one that's going to be bothering you for the rest of the evening. First, a little bit about myself. Hi, I'm Daniel. I work at Rabobank. I'm one of the juniors in the red team. I have OSCP, OSCE, and recently did my OSWE, which inspired me to do this CTF internally at Rabo, and to basically get everyone in the whole security department to, well, get a little bit of insight of what we do on a daily basis. It's a beginner CTF, so you don't need any tools. And the plan for this evening, as Arjen already said, it's not that populated or busy. It's this presentation, then I will shut up and you can get started. And it will end at 8:30, and then I will walk through all the challenges for everyone that wasn't able to solve them. I will keep an eye on the scoreboard, and if anyone reaches 200 points that are available, then of course we'll let you know. And there are some tips and tricks beforehand. I recommend installing the cookie editor, because there are some stuff with cookies that it's gonna make your life a lot easier if you have one of these two extensions installed. Also, for the people that don't know, there's a functionality in browsers that allows you to inspect what's going on the page itself. For both Chrome and Firefox, it's inspect or inspect element, and then you will see the bar on the bottom, and then you can browse through everything that's on the website. You can also view the entire page source with the button that says so. There's another option in the menu that pops up, and that's a JavaScript console. It allows you to basically execute commands or JavaScript commands from the shell. So you're gonna need that probably. And as you can see, you can execute on every site that's possible. This is not something like XSS or something like that. You can just execute JavaScript on any site you like. Then, of course, there's also a prize from Rabo. It's a vacuum insulated water bottle that will keep your cold drinks cold and your hot drinks hot. And there's also a power bank with a wireless charging pad. So I also believe there are some prizes from Hack the Box itself, if I recall correctly.
Correct.
So there's a lot of stuff to be won.
Yeah, we actually have for the top 3. There's swag to be had, so that's going to be fun.
All right. Well then, I suggest you all go ahead to rr-ctf.nl, and then I will give everyone a couple of minutes to register, and then I will open up the challenges. So good luck, and hopefully you'll win.
Yeah. I want to add that during the entire CTF in the channel and in the voice chat, you can exchange ideas and ask for help, especially if you're a beginner, and we'll help you in whichever way that is not spoilable is necessary.
Yeah, if there are any challenge specific questions that you think might spoil something for the others, just shoot me a DM, then I will take a look at it.
Cool. Well, let's see. I think you have the scoreboard and a user view, Daniel. So if you during the meetup want to put that on the screen, then we can have a live view of how it's going.
Yeah, sure. I'll start sharing that.
Text. Yeah, right. There we go. 48 viewers. Nice. It looks like they actually muted one of the people that was streaming the hardcore music. Nice. So while we wait, Daniel, you already ran this CTF in the Rabobank?
Yes.
The people that actually did the CTF, were they red teamers or were they from the entire organization?
They were from the entire organization, from all over the world. There were colleagues from Brazil that actually scored really high, which we didn't expect. And there were a lot of also blue teamers, also people that have basically never hacked in any way or shape or form before. So there were a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds, and some didn't really know where to start and were just there for the walkthrough, and also the presentation that we gave beforehand about the red team itself. And there were a lot that were actively playing, even though the challenge or the CTF was already officially over. I kept it open for another month, and there were still some people playing, so that was really fun to see.
Nice. Yeah, I'm quite curious for tonight. We've seen that there's a lot of people that are new to the meetup. Well, for those, we don't have a CTF every day or every meetup. We have different topics each time. So this is a really nice interactive and active evening in that case. Yeah, and if you need help, just let us know. There's actually a couple of mods in the channel, Dutch Pyro and Gevulde Cookie. They are very happy to help you out in any way that's possible. And the entire community, of course, helps out. So how's the registrations, Daniel? Can we start the CTF already, or do you want to wait a couple more minutes?
I'm currently looking at the statistics. I'll just leave another 3 minutes, and then the
Cool.
challenges will open up automatically.
Nice, nice. So 3 minutes to go. I actually have a countdown timer in this thing as well. Let's see, where was it again? Yeah, the 30-second mark. We can. Okay. Welcome, Dr. Falcon. Yeah. Let's see if there's any comments. Yeah, we have a lot of comments. We have cool things in this new setup. We can say, for instance, Ryan asks, "What's up with green screen?" Daniel, would you like to explain what is up with your green screen?
It's just the basic thing that I always use for anything Rabo related.
Yeah, yeah. But, I actually, if you remember, last meetup, I was actually sitting right there with the desk, and then you would see my door and the cabinets in the back. So since we are now fully remote and still remote, and so I decided to turn my desk around, so we now have a plant, very eco-friendly, and you can see a globe and stuff like that. Let's see. Mattes says swag. Yeah, swag is really nice. Swag is good to have. So and it will be worth it. That is the only thing I will say. It will be worth it. So 1 minute. Shall we do the countdown timer? Shall we do that? Why not?
There are about 30 seconds left. So
Nice. Here it comes. How about that? 30 seconds. Yeah. Did we time it okay?
I think so. They should be open now.
Nice. So good luck hacking. Enjoy the CTF, and I hope you have a very fun evening. So
I hope so too.
we will add a scoreboard to the screen and then remove us. So, but you can view the scoreboard on the stream. Here we go. Daniel, thank you. I will remove us from the stream and we can chat in the Discord.
Yeah, sure.
So Daniel, we should be here.
Yes, I'm setting
beautiful.
everything up to be able to show everything.
Let me quickly go back to Discord real quick. Daniel, we will do one more announcement in Discord. 1 second.
All right.
Before we do the write-ups or the solves or the challenges, our newest mod, Gevulde Cookie, has something to say. Or maybe not. Cookie? Consolation prize. And Joost, is Joost here? Yeah. Joost, well, Gevulde Cookie left you hanging as to what you've won. Shall I tell him, or do you want to say it, Miss Cookie? Okay. Well, Joost, you're the lucky winner of 1 month of VIP Plus on Hack the Box. So in order to get the prize, send me your details in the chat, so you get a code sent to you by Hack the Box, and then you can sharpen your skills for the next Capture the Flag. You're very welcome. Thank Cookie. It was her choice. It was Cookie's choice for this matter. So we will do the walkthrough now. Here we go. Okay, Daniel.
Yes.
Shall we share the screen? There we go.
There it is.
Yes. Floor is all yours.
So we're gonna start off with the first and the easiest challenge, odd ops. I'm also really proud of all the hints, so I'm gonna show them beforehand. And the hint is I forgot my password. Well, so if we take a look at the source of the website, you will.
Maybe you can zoom in a little bit because the letters are quite small on the stream.
I hope this helps.
Yeah, beautiful.
So there's a script block in it. Well, going over it quickly, you can see that there's some MD5 hash comparison, but we can see what happens when the check is actually correct. So we can just copy that part and execute it ourselves instead of actually knowing the password. So if I now go to the console and execute this, you will see that the page refreshes with the first flag. So the first challenge wasn't really that hard. It's basically to show that anything that you do locally on a web page, everyone can see what's happening. So don't bother making it complicated whatsoever. Anyone can debug it and then figure out how the authentication works. In this case, it was pretty easy. But yeah, this kind of authentication basically is no authentication. So then we go over to the second one, login. And this hint already suggests that there's some kind of SQL injection going on probably. So if we head over to the web page, I'm going to get my notes real quick so I make sure I don't forget anything. We can see that we're prompted with a user and a password. So if we just type anything in there, we'll see nothing happens. If we type one single quote, you'll get an error. And at the bottom of the error, you can see on which line it actually occurred. And you can see that it's selecting an ID and a username from user where username is equal to the input and where password is equal to the input. So if we basically have confirmed that we have SQL injection. So what we now could do is do the basic SQL injection bypass for authentication and see what happens.
Can we can see again so we can.
Yeah, I forgot. I'll do it again. So or 1 equals 1. And coming down the rest of the line, we can again. So we can see we are logged in as user 1, and that there's world and hello and not visible for this user. So keeping in mind what the SQL query actually was, we can also try to maybe say, well, if username is equal to user2, and then just skip the rest of the end password is equal to something. You can see that you can actually log in as user2, and there's the flag. So it's not a traditional way of SQL injection, but it's not that difficult either. It's if you have read the error page or if you got the error page initially, then that would have given a lot of hints about what to do and how you would eventually get into the user2 account. So then there's admin. I forgot to show the hint. And the hint's not working great. Well, then we'll just get started. You can see that there's a password field and an authenticate button, or you can log in as guest.
Can you make it bigger again? Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
If we just try something and try to authenticate, well, nothing actually happens on the back end. So what happens if we log in as guest? We get welcome guest, and here's your flag. Only the admin can see the flag. And this is where the cookie editor comes in, because it's much easier this way to see that there are 3 cookies. The session one is related to CTFD. So there are 2 other cookies that are kind of suspicious. There's one which has guest in its name and a UID. So
we don't see your cookie editor at the moment. We only see.
Oh, yeah, I see. Well, then I'm going to show it this way. We can see that there are 2 cookies, one that's name with value guest and one that's a UID with value 600. So if I just assume I'm changing the username in my cookie editor. So if I try to reload the page, you can see also in my cookie that I've changed the name and it's come back. This would also have a cross-site scripting vulnerability in it, but that's not what we're after. So what needs to be done is the user ID needs to be set to 0, and the username should be set to admin or administrator. This way, you will actually get the flag. You need to set both cookies. If you just set one of those, then it won't work. It will actually check if your user ID is 0 and if your username is admin or administrator. Capitalization doesn't matter in this case. But yeah, there we get the third flag.
Yeah,
so
on the hints, you probably got logged out due to the login challenges.
That's probably what happened, yeah. But yeah, so no more hints, I guess. So this is the longest one, constructor. It's, again, client-side authentication. And we can see that there's a lot more code now. So if we view the entire page source, then you will see a large block of code. And there are two functions named X and T. For this challenge, you kind of need to know how JavaScript works. You don't really need to, because you can use the terminal or the console to try some things with the functions and see what happens. But the steps are as follows. The password, or the thing that you enter, is put into variable P, and then the length of the flag is checked. So you already know that the flag is gonna be 34 characters. And then we see a new variable type R, and that's P in function T. So if you go back to the console, then you can see that the T function requires a string. You can see it here. So if we put anything in there, you can see that the input is basically reversed. So now if you go back, then we see the first if statement. If the reverse of the flag starts with RBCTF opening bracket and ends with closing bracket, then continue further down the path. So we know that the flag must be RBCTF and then a number of characters in the middle that form a total length of 34. So now it gets the original input and splits it. Basically, it gets the part between the two brackets, and then it splits it based on the lower lower dash.
Underscore.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, and then we see that we can try to see what the split function actually does. So we can see that you need to variable, and then you call split on it, and then the result get put into another variable. So if we do, for example, A, B, C, D, and then call split on it, then you can see that it gets split into an array, and that it has length 4. And that's also the checks that's done here. So we know that there are 3 underscores and that there are 4 words. So now we get the first part of the first word. And it just is checked against this, which you can just copy paste into the console. And then you will see it returns client. So we know that the first part is client. And then we have 3 other words that we need to figure out. Next, it checks the last item in the list because we start to count at 0. So it's the 4th word. And then you can also just copy paste this into the console and see what it returns. Next up is the second word, and this is the one that a lot of people are struggling with, and that's kind of intentional. The second word is made all lowercase, and then it gets split into each individual letter, or character. And then we can see that the reverse of that should be equal to this. And then you can already kind of see that, so the reverse of this should be as S1D3. And because it's S1D3, and these are lowercase, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the input also has to be lowercase. It just doesn't matter if it is capitalized in some weird way. The check will always happen on the lowercase version of your input. So now there's the final part, the third part. And there you can see that the X function is called with both the third part and the number 5. So if we take a look at function X, you can see that it needs a string, it needs a number, and it does some kind of calculation on each character. It gets the numerical value and then adds the number, in this case 5, to it. So what if we do the reverse for the output that is expected? So if we use function X and give it the expected output and -5 instead of 5, you can see that we get what is needed. So the function, I was too lazy to implement the whole modulus stuff to actually make it a full working Caesar cipher, but this also does the trick. So now we can see, we try to authenticate. This actually says that's the flag, but the actual flag is with all letters capitalized, like in all other words and all other flags. So that was also kind of a hint that every flag is the same, is built up in the same way. So this is no exception. And you can see that it also triggers the alert for this flag. So now we go over to escape. And in escape, you can see that it says displaying file index.html and template page.
Can you zoom in a bit? Yeah, there.
Yeah. So displaying file, and you can maybe see in my URL bar that I'm actually on index.html. And we are in folder jail. So if we try to remove jail, for example, then we'll go right back into the jail. So what you need for this challenge is to actually escape the jail. And there's also a hint in the source, notes to dev, added an extra layer of LFI protection to make sure we didn't miss any. So if we would try something like // Chrome will interpret that as, all right, you want to go back one folder, so I'll do that for you, and we will land right back into the jail. So what we need is to URL encode the / to make sure that Chrome just forwards it on to the application. In this case, / is to %2f. If we do that, nothing changes. It will stay there in the URL bar. And I'm sorry, I can make this bigger than it actually is. So you're just gonna have to believe me on that. And if we recall from the note, the dot slash is actually filtered. So it's removed in the backend. But what if I'm just going to do this real dirty real quick. So what if we do dot slash, then it gets filtered out. But what if we do another dot slash inside of the dot slash? Then the first time the filter passes over it and search for any occasions of dot slash, it will remove the most inner dot slash, leaving us with the original dot slash. But since the check is done twice, we need to make sure that if the first filter catches the first dot slash, then another dot slash will remain. That will get removed by the second filter, and then our final dot slash will be left, and then it will actually escape the jail. So this is the syntax that you will need. And then, because this was something you could have guessed from injector, and otherwise it's just the most logical place to put a flag.txt. If we put this into the URL bar, then we can see that it actually displays the file flag.txt from the directory up. And we can see there's the flag. So it was kind of a tricky one, but it happens a lot. So next we have injector, which will basically execute a ping command. So if I give it a local IP, then it will say ping exit code successful. And there are a lot of ways to concatenate or to execute multiple commands in a single line. And almost all of them were filtered, except for one. And that was the nested command. So if we do who am I, then we can see that there's an error message, ping unknown host root. So it seems like this command is actually executed and gets returned to us in the error message. Now you could have guessed that the flag is also called again flag.txt, and there you will have it. But there's also a way for you to actually search for the flag if you don't know where it is. With ls, you can see that there is some file, and only one result gets returned to the error message, because the first argument that is passed to the ping command will get executed. But there is a special flag with ls that I believe this was the file name, that will remove a result from the ls output. So now you can see that the result is no longer c.o.log, but it is Docker file. So now if you go back, we can add another one. And it's dash capital I, so it's not L, just to avoid any confusion. And now we can see app.py. And we can again remove this from the results. And now you can see there is the flag.txt. So even if you didn't know what file name it was, you could have still gotten to the flag.txt file, or to know about its existence, basically. So
and
then,
that also gives a good hint for the other challenge as to what would be a valid
exactly,
file name for flag.
for escape. So that's also there, the same point amount, so there's no real way in which way you need to solve it. So if you can solve a challenge, maybe there's an hint in another one. So then there's the final challenge. It will just say, hello, none, how are you? So this was the most difficult one. And it's about server-side template injection. And this nay or this hello, how are you suggests that we probably gonna need to supply the name. So if we give it name is equal to Daniel, then you will see, hello Daniel, how are you? And now the basic check for Python-based server-side template injection or template injection in general, you can see if I give it a calculation that it actually returns the result of what I inputted, which was nowhere else to type, so I'm going to do it here. My input was 7 times 7, and this gets interpreted by the backend, by the template populator. Hey, this is something, this is actual code, so I need to execute that. And then you can see that the result is actually the sum instead of this what I actually inputted. So now there are two possibilities for where the flag could be. There is config.items, which returns a large list of all the stuff that the server was configured with. And I believe I even put in a fake flag in here somewhere. Yeah, oh, here, the secret key, RBCTF, nope. So that's not the way to go. So now this is going to be a bit hard to show and also type the commands. So what you basically need to do is you need to be, you can get access to the OS library through various ways of Python manipulation, of getting to a parent class or children classes or subclasses. So I'm just gonna do the first part, and then you can see what my input was.
Maybe you can put it in a console and then.
Yeah, that's a bit quicker. So this was my input for the name get variable, and you can see that it returns class type string. So now we're gonna add something else to that. And that is, now the output was this, and I believe this is to get all the parent classes of a certain class.
Is the method resolution order? Something like that?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's how Python resolves where to do the function call, basically.
Yeah. So we need the second argument of the global object, and then we're gonna find all the subclasses of object, which is basically anything. So this was my input, and we get a load of classes back. And these are all the functions that we could basically use, or all the objects we can interact with. So what we're now looking for is, or something to read a file with, or to actually execute a system command. So I'm going to try to find it somewhere. Here it is. subprocess.popen. Popen can be used to start a process, and in this case, that is basically command execution. So, and this was number 405. So what we're now going to do is actually call this function. So you need to know some basic Python to know how to correctly call this function to actually get the output that you need. But there are a lot of, this is a very basic template injection. So there's a lot of information out there that would basically give you the command that you need, which is this, if I remember correctly. Well, there's found not found error. So
you put the shell and standard out in the string instead of as arguments to the.
Oops.
That's okay. That's called the demo effect, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there it is. So we can see the output of the flag. Even if you again didn't know the output of or the name of the flag, you could have just used ls, and then you would see result Dockerfile app flag.txt requirements. So you can basically get full remote code execution this way. And this was the final challenge.
Very cool. Thank you for the walkthrough. If I look at the chat, there's quite a hefty discussion about if flag.txt is a well-known name for the challenge. I think Mr. OK said, hey, I don't think that's a logical name, or the challenges are out of order in order to get to know that that's the name. So that's what he said. See a lot of discussion about the ways they have done their challenges, like using find to find the flag.txt itself, finding other locations, using various ways to actually grab the template injection, using built-ins and import, then importing the OS module and then just calling popen instead of looking for the popen in the MRO, simply because you still have the functionality of import, because there's no context in the render, I guess.
Yeah, there are of course a lot of different ways to solve these kind of challenges.
Yeah. So Mr. OK is not a happy camper. He thinks. Yeah. Let's see. There's also ping. There's some comments about how people solve them. Some people said, "Oh, I was so close, no cigar." So I think overall a very, very fun evening having a CTF, solving some challenges. The number 1, 2, and 3 all within a couple of minutes of each other. So excitement. What more can we ask for, right?
Yes.
So, I hope you're happy with how it went, except for the brute forcing, of course.
Yeah, and for Pink Draconian, if you want the Rabo swag, then you'll need some kind of address to send it to, because there's no visits at the office anymore.
Yeah, well, we'll get you connected. Well, you can send him a message on Discord, or he can send you. And same for the winners of the swag. I need your email addresses, and we get that sorted out. So, yes. Well, with that, it's a little bit past 9. I will say, let's close out the meetup. We can continue chatting on Discord, of course. The evening is still young. But for the official meetup part, it is all over. The next meetup is already open for registration. So if you want to not miss out, come join us. And see you all next month. And a big thank you to Daniel. Well done.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. Thank you all. and have a good evening.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.